safe distance and sort of just deny it while the rest of the team is sort of pushed up.
So could you
Gotcha.
wall him off?
The Junkrat?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
then I
that would
would
be.
basically. I mean, I could wall him off, but like depending on the area of which we're at, like if I walled him off in an open area, he could just jump over it. If I walled him off in the, I couldn't wall him off if we were in the left room because we're trying to bait them into the room.
Right.
That's where you'd want to wall off one of the tanks or whoever comes in through first. Junkrat would be spamming that area that we're trying to wall off, or the doorway.
Wait, where are they holding if we were in left room, hypothetically?
If they were in, or if we were, so basically hypothetically, if we made it first to left room, well, I mean, like we would make if we both rushed the room on the left, right? We have May and Reaper, so we would be a little bit more scarier to them, for the tanks at least, because of the fact that so they would play a little bit more passive, and that they would try and let their Junkrat and Hanzo usually do the rest of the damage and spam into us. And so it would be up to me to probably get a wall off as we were both rushing into each other, so I could section off. That wall would be on cooldown after we hopefully killed one of the tanks. They would most likely back off. Either we would push or decide to just slow push them and just sort of whittle them down, because being down a single tank, they can still make plays with the Junkrat and Hanzo. The Junkrat's probably going to start backing off, but he's still going to spam. And they're probably going to rely more on either a random spam pick from Junkrat to make the team comp even, or a Hanzo pick. Hanzo skill shot, headshot, or whatever. So it would more so have to be like a slow push. And yeah, that's all I got so far.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Sort of just what I came up with on the spot.
The only reason I would say the Ana would be our target priority is because of our heals, and everybody like can self heal. Like we have the Reaper that can self heal, Lucio that's group heals, the Moira that's group heals. So if they get an anti, then the
But everybody
Junkrat.
can counter that.
What do you mean?
No, not
Like-
everybody. Only me and the Reaper can counter it.
And so can Zarya.
Zarya can counter
yeah,
it.
that's right, yeah.
Reaper can counter it. May can counter it.
Oh,
Moira
okay.
can fade out of it.
And
Oh,
then
And
really?
Zarya can also help one of these two counter it.
Oh, I forgot that the Reaper fade. Okay.
Yeah, the Reaper. I just forgot about the freaking Moira and Zarya bubble.
All right.
Yeah,
But
so,
that is a good point though, that Ana does deny our main source of heals. So I guess the big brain plays here are gonna come from May. So a lot of this is gonna depend on her. So I guess, okay, let's go through our comp, and say each person, like, what should you be thinking of as we engage with this comp? So tanks, Johnny, what are you thinking as we engage with this? What should your bubble priority be, and what should main tank be doing?
Well, my bubble priority is like if they're like spamming a lot of damage at one of our people, like, because our Reaper is going to be close up, so I want to protect him as much as possible because that's all our damage.
Yep.
So I would probably bubble him in mid fight, but if we're just poking, I would bubble Rhine to get charge. And
Gotcha.
then our Rhine should, since we're going to the left room, should probably play like a little behind the door so that they want to push into us instead of us pushing out to them for the walls.
Would they actually push in though?
No.
Probably not, right?
wait, what are we talking? Are we pushing in?
Into the room. Like if they saw us sitting there, unless they knew that they had the advantage, I don't know if they'd want to push in.
If they didn't push in, all we could do is just drop down.
Yeah, we could just
under
drop the
room,
point
and
and
then we
then-
have basically wall potential and stall potential with all that.
Yeah, we
Right.
could wall them off the point so that they would have to like make the weird jump angle,
Hmm.
and then our Lucio
Well,
has boops from there,
no.
and we could just fight them because they're
They
all
would-
coming into a single place.
Hypothetically, so if we were in left room and they were pretty much just like, having a staring contest, we drop down and we put a May wall on stairs, they
Yeah,
can't get through.
That's what I'm talking
I mean,
about.
like, that's a.
Oh, okay.
Once we
if we could-
rotate and then put the wall on stairs, they have to jump from the side onto point, unless they follow us behind us, which is what we want.
I mean,
Right.
like, I would say, like me being the May player, like, I would say, like, I wouldn't maul the stairs, as much as like that would help us like probably achieve like get the point or like and like keep them away for a small single like a single amount of time. Once that happens, all they have to do is I have like a 10-second cooldown on my wall. That's a huge amount of time that they are gonna have, or like it's 11 seconds. That's a huge amount of time they have to basically whittle down Ryan's shield. Sorry, Bubble, excuse me, with the Junkrat.
Right.
And then basically, once the Rhine shield's down, they're gonna probably just let Junkrat and Hanzo pressure the room. As soon as the Rhine shield goes down and someone says that somebody's weak or low, they're gonna speed boost in. Like we could get plays off with the Reaper, and I could maybe like freeze somebody, but like my wall is down, and like that just allows them like kind of like an entrance in.
Yeah.
My idea would probably be just like we'd go into we drop down if it was a staring contest. And like one thing I think that would be like beneficial to practice is on the capping point, but not standing on point. Does that make sense? So like basically,
Just
you would-
rotate on point.
we would basically drop to point. You know how there's those two doors or like openings to point in the bottom, right?
Mm-hmm.
We just sit there. This is like legit. Like we would sit there and wait for wall opportunities. Ryan would shield up. Basically, we'd come out. We'd basically just have a point battle because at that point they have to touch point because if they're a smart enough team, they know that if we cap point and just sort of wall ourselves up or have Ryan shield up while we're just kind of like hiding in that little room, we have like huge stall potential because we don't need everybody on point. We just need one person on point. So like we could just have Ryan like pop his
Oh.
head in and out with the Ryan shield, and if
Right.
they push, then I can wall up with one or two of the tanks behind the wall would just kill them. Eventually they would probably go around, but that's with hope that like we have someone watching our back, and that's an easy rotate from either me or the May. The tanks really shouldn't have to rotate because they should be just focused on that one area with the bubbles and the shield, rotating bubbles and shield to stall point after we cap it.
Yeah, good points.
I have an idea.
What?
So it has to do with staring contest, right? So let's say we get the left room and we're instead of dropping down, we have like just the Lucio go down and like start capping point, and we stay in left room. And if either A, they rush us because we're down one, Lucio can get back and they're in the room that we want them to be, wall them off, do whatever. But if they run point, we could have Lucio come back and then like through bottom, and then we can wall off whoever's trying to go through stairs to them, or freeze or something.
It could work. I feel like that's a more risky play though.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
they would just speed to point, and then they would have the advantage because Junkrat could just spam down the hallway.
Like we would have to like legit,
Because we would
like,
need to
rush
wait for the
help
speed,
our
yeah.
Lucio. And
Right.
like after we rush for Lucio, then it would kind of be like they have point now.
And we're stuck in
after-
a room with Junkrat spamming us.
Yeah, like my whole plan was the idea of like we would do the staring contest while both teams were
Holding point.
stalling point. Like no one would be capping for a good solid minute, even when the point's unlocked, because
Okay.
like that's the whole point. Is just like we have like our comp has longer stall potential than they do.
Yeah, I like the staring contest idea. That's something we could definitely try. All right. Yeah. Just to keep this moving. Healers, Ali. What should Ana and Lucio be, or not Ana? Moira and Lucio be thinking about for this engage?
Well, what I would be thinking about is pretty much like careful retention of the healing juice because they have a lot of, well, like with the Junkrat, they have a lot of spam damage and Hanzo has like a high damage output too. So I really wouldn't want to be wasting my juice and probably reserving all like the orbs for like specifically healing, or I don't want to say all of them, but like for the most part.
Mhm.
So that's what I would be thinking about as Moira, and also like not staying in the front lines because the Hanzo could like get a headshot on me. So just like maintaining positioning like behind the Rhine and pretty much behind everybody else too.
Mhm.
And as Lucio, well, definitely like speeding, like when to speed and when to heal. Probably with this comp, mostly almost all the time being on speed so that we can just like face them head on. Um, I think that's where our strengths lie, so it would just be like moving the team as a unit. And yeah, I mean, there's really not like a lot of peeling for this comp, so I wouldn't really be worrying too much about that as Lucio.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I think Lucio's role here is to stay on speed and to stay alive.
Yeah.
So just don't go into any risky spots. May, I think we already kind of talked about. So you're gonna try to wall off somebody on their front line so we can engage them, and if we can't do that, wall off one of their main sources of damage or healing, right? Reaper, I feel like is pretty brain dead here. I just click at things and hope that they die.
You put pressure on things.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Brain dead.
Isn't that
Alright,
what we all do though?
Oh.
Unless anybody has anything else, I'm just gonna click play, see how this works. It's so confusing hearing myself talk.
No, I don't like hearing myself talk either, especially with how loud I am, and you guys.
Great wall.
Nice.
Oh, rip Twitchy's angle.
Yeah, perfect wall by the May there.
Yeah, we won this fight.
Alright, that was really well executed.
Yeah, that was super good.
Someone watch the flanks as we get flanked.
Yes. Alright,
Who said
I think that was me.
Yeah.
Yeah, Swat said watch.
Lol.
And, like, after he said that,
You just see the
I
junk.
just came in.
Like a second after. Alright, let's watch that wonderful replay.
God, I love how Twitchy just like looks over.
Like he knows, and he's just watching. He's like,
Yeah, he
smirking.
can see it. He can see it.
Like he's so smirking right now.
That was a good 2 seconds.
Junk behind.
Alright, so I guess in this case, who should like once we've won the first fight, who should be where? How should we defend
I
this?
feel like the Lucio, because we don't need speed boost at this second.
Mhm.
Like I feel like the Lucio should be the one who like, because the Lucio is the one who's supposed to be like at this point, I think, hanging in middle ground between at least Ali and
Okay. So Lucio
tank.
kind of turns into like a peeler at this point, right?
Yeah, just to speed
Okay.
boost the healer out if there's a flanker and call it out, or if we get overwhelmed in the front line, speed boost the tanks out and DPS out.
Can I
Gotcha.
take the thing real
Yeah,
quick?
go for it.
Alright. So basically my thinking behind this is we should have our Ryan sit in right there. That's Ryan. And just May, it's not an M, but you get the point. May's right here, Reaper here, and then Lucio should be like sitting back kind of over there. Just
Mhm.
so like he will have sight lines of the left side hallway, just so we know like that junk's probably gonna go there again. And have Ali sit there. So basically have our main group sitting right here, but our Lucio should stay back a little bit so they can call out like, hey, Junkrat's left side, and everybody can kind of like speed back if they need to, stuff like that. I don't know.
That would give Ali that would give Ali more time to react, and Lucio, I don't think wouldn't have gotten so low. Just because that was a very surprise play that we should have saw.
Yeah, because that's
Yeah.
I mean, because like, but to be fair to the whole rest of the team, we did rush in because I got a wall off on the Rhine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We did rush in, and we were all saying go, and I think we all just
Well,
like
I think
went forward. So like,
what you
I mean,
guys
like,
should do.
I think by that time, once we got the Rhine, that was a one fight, because that's what the Junkrat did. Walk away after that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, so he just backed off because he knew that was a lost fight.
Mhm.
He could have made some big plays. He would have to be real careful.
One thing I'll add here, so what Spiffy was saying, having the Rhine or in this area, I think it might kind of be advantageous for the Rhine and May to kind of exist in between this area and this area, kind of like rotate, because if you kind of go back and forth, that's gonna deny them the ability to go through the other door, just
Yeah.
like back through. So like if you see them trying to go this way and then this way, we speed in, wall somebody off, and finish them. But if they come here, then yeah, the Ryan should back up to here and try to get the wall over here.
Oh, okay, I see.
Because like their main, like they have two options once they walk through that door. So like me as May, I'm thinking more so about walling off the main door entrance than more so like
Like here.
yeah, and more so
Gotcha.
than like our door, because it's just like if I wall off our door and like if they're rushing us, well then like yeah, okay, like we win that fight. But,
Right,
like,
right.
They could so easily just like run the
Yeah.
other way.
Yeah, that's what they're gonna want to do, is go that way.
Also,
So
if,
we want to try to prevent that.
if you wall off the door nearest to us, like let's say you wall off the main tank on this side, their Lucio could just speed them all around us. You know?
I think by the time, if they went all the way around, by that time their main tank's gonna be dead.
Yeah, we should have focused that main tank down and dead by that time. But if we didn't, like we're
Yeah.
doing something wrong.
That's like 5 seconds to focus one main tank down.
Yeah, with no heals or anything.
So wait, after you guys got the main tank and you heard that like the Junkrat was over here, I feel like you guys should have just like booked it straight into them. Because the guy that denies you like area, like from like just spamming, is in your back. So if you speed forward, he would be separated, and that's a 4.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't
That-
have
that
any
could be a
heals
play.
up there,
Yeah, that could be.
and
a
that would
play.
just give him like free damage into us.
Yeah,
into
plus the
our-
Farah that
yeah.
just got back. The Farah that just got back. If we went into that room, we would have to only stay in that room. If we
Mm.
rushed out, I don't know if you meant like just rush into the room or rush out into like past the doorway. Like
No.
it could be a play, but like if we rushed out past the doorway, that Farah has free reign on us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have any answer for a far right now, which I think, was it you, Lamp, that called it out ahead of the when we left spawn? Somebody called it out. They were like, this dies to Farah.
Possibly.
no, it was-
I spam the freaking tab button all the time, so it might be me. I have a
in
problem with
spawn?
spamming the tab time.
Dude, don't
It's
worry.
not a problem.
We all do it.
Fuck that.
Alright, cool. Anything else before we keep playing? Alright, moving on. Lucio, watch behind.
Oh, it's Johnny.
Dude, I always press tab.
Save your shield, save your shield.
Yeah, that was a risky play by our Rhine.
Yeah, he shouldn't have been in there.
Ripperino.
Alright. Alright, yeah, so Ali, good call to get out there. One thing I think we should start doing is have either you or the off healer, when we know the fight's lost, just call fight lost. Just to have like a common call out, and then that way everyone can know to reset.
Or fight one.
Okay.
Or just call out suicide, so that way everybody in the team knows.
Kill yourself.
Kill yourself.
But I
Super
survived.
toxic.
Go far, McCree.
Can I comment something real quick?
Yeah.
I know I just joined, but I wanted to mention, I feel like, just like in that fight, for example, I feel like bubbles were used a little too aggressively, and like the Reaper Wraith, for example, was also used too aggressively. I feel like overall, and especially when I played with everyone, it's important for us to be more conservative with our cooldowns.
Gotcha.
Especially for dive, like when we were having a disconnect with, I forget who was on Monkey, but we were having a disconnect on diving. I feel like that's the cooldowns are the key piece to that. So I feel like trying to use the least amount of cooldowns for the most effect would be really a good thing for us to work on.
That's a really good point. Do you want to take a look at that again and see where we used cooldowns and where we could have saved them?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, let's do that.
You scared me for a second because I thought this was in the game. I was like, you were
Dude,
playing with us
so,
right now.
so
No,
did
was
I.
not in this.
I'll,
Alright. What do I call you, by the way? Main? Pad Thai?
Pad Thai.
Call him Pete. Call him Pete or Pat.
Call me
Pat
whatever.
Thai. Yeah, Pat Thai is new name.
Yeah, you can call me Pad Thai.
Alright, Pad
Pad
Thai. If you want to grab control, top left, you can play it and like draw stuff on the screen to show us
Okay.
where we could have saved cooldowns.
Okay. I'm gonna try and figure this out because it's my first time. Is there a way to play it in slow mo?
I have no idea. Yeah, I have no idea. Sorry.
I think there is. I think it's the little arrows.
So I'll just try and pause it when I see something. Let's start right about here. We'll start here. Okay, so okay, so there's the Zarya bubble, the personal. So in that, because I'm a tank player, so that's something I have to be really aware of. Is like when we're going into a fight and you're already high charge, for example, you like want to use that Zarya bubble, not to like just like basically to save yourself. It's a really defensive thing, and
Alright.
it's a really useful ability. Reaper's Wraith right here. He went in, or she, I don't know who was playing, went in to get some ult charge, but as you see right after here, the Junkrat goes for a tire, and then Reaper doesn't have Wraith to get out of this, and so unfortunately that's 2 right there.
Right.
Well, I feel like the reason he wraithed was because he went in with the Rhine, because the Rhine was going to shatter. And it was just so much damage in this room that he wraithed to get out to save himself from all that damage.
Like that was just
Well-
that was just a runaway kind of like you know,
Yeah.
we gotta get out.
Because look here, I'm pretty sure. Well, I might be mistaken because there's a rank. So yeah, see the Reaper goes in after the Rhine there. So, but that's something we got to be really aware of, and is always be looking in that top right because right here the Reaper's not in yet, and so the Reaper goes in deeper even though the Rhine's died right here. You see that?
Yeah,
So the
that
Reaper
was me,
keeps
and I
going
didn't
in.
realize that our Ryan had died, so I went in.
No, that's
thinking I could
understandable.
help.
For
Well,
sure.
and also our Rhine shattered, so I guess it was like the trust that the Rhine
Yeah,
got at least
yeah.
one person in the shatter.
So that's
Was
also
that our shatter?
important. Is we
Yeah, that was our
gotta,
shatter.
like, for our main tank, we gotta be making calls like that. Like, if you do shatter, you want to call how many people or who's in it, because if no one's in it, we can't move in on that, right? We have to play a little defensive because they're gonna make a counter push. Like,
To give credit to our main tank though, this is a tryout for him. So this is his first time playing with us.
oh no, I mean, I'm not trying to counteract that. That's just something we can work on as a team for sure.
Oh yeah. For
Yeah,
sure, for sure.
yeah, definitely
And
good
then
points.
here, you saw that bubble on the Moira right there.
You're talking about, like at that point it was a lost fight, so we didn't really need it.
Well, the bubble right here on the Moira, although, actually, hang on, let me see this.
That's because
okay,
I was
so
saving
no,
her
I'm
from the
incorrect.
Pharah.
Pharah, no,
Yeah.
yeah, the Pharah's right there. That was a correct bubble. And I haven't really been watching for long, but for the most part, those were the 2 things I saw just in that fight.
Yeah, no problem.
I just wanted to mention it real quick.
Yeah, those are really good points.
Yeah, but just overall, the main thing I wanted to mention is just like cooldowns. We gotta be better about cooldowns.
Gotcha. If you notice any more like cooldown issues through the rest of these VODs, definitely call them out.
Yeah, and I can't really tell when our Lucio uses amp, but that's also really key to save. I know when I play Lucio, I use amp like all the time, which is not cool. So that's just something for us to look at.
Cool, cool.
Yeah, whoever wants to take over, feel free.
Alright, I'm just gonna hit play here. Alright, so we have a okay, what are we doing here?
With
Okay,
Well,
the
this
junk?
so
was-
we have
Move.
This was our Ryan's call, so we just listening to directions,
okay, yeah,
which I don't think is a good idea because Pharah.
We should have
junk.
called with Pharah junk. Yeah, we should have called this out as a bad move.
yeah.
We have a Pharah
Like this is on
ourselves.
all of us.
And
we're
we
not
we
calling
have
it
our
out.
own Pharah, so
Like,
Yeah.
this is on all of us, right? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
let's go feed.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is.
Can I
Yeah.
ask a quick question?
Yeah, go for it.
What was the thought on playing Moira here?
Kupios. Oh,
Yeah, Sean.
So for the I was the one that called the comp in the beginning. We were running Reaper May.
Okay,
So
yeah,
the
that
thought
makes way
on
more sense. Yeah, that makes way more sense. Just
Yeah.
because save the old. Yeah, yeah. Okay, you're good.
yeah, I guess so we didn't really think about switching up the
Oh.
heals afterwards, but
well, we
I
have
guess
an alt too, so.
yeah, we have an ultimate.
Yeah, no,
So.
that's what I. Yeah, yeah.
Might as well use the ult.
Understandable.
All right, let's watch ourselves feed here.
Yes. I'm surprised we actually got through that choke.
Yeah, with that much health.
All right. So luckily they used an ultimate to kill us.
It was huge.
All right, just full feed mode. All right. If we're gonna go for ace high spaces, try to stay in the open. Yeah, shatter.
Oh god, the video buffered.
Go right side.
Is it buffering for anybody else?
No.
Hey, good job on calling those ults out.
Who?
Oh, huge boop.
My video's not playing. Just to let you know.
Shit.
Oh, I almost died from freaking
Big
boredom.
charge.
No more ults. Gravs.
We'll hold in this room. Okay, I'm We'll go into this room. I feel like I don't understand how that fight was so easy.
Because we're good. Oh, you got the boop in the beginning off the Rhine. So
Oh,
we
yeah.
I
just,
I think we got a kill before that though. I don't know. Did
No.
anyone see what happened?
in the beginning, you
It was-
booped Rhine. That was you that got the pick.
It was Rhine, then somebody else. The
right side.
Reinhardt killed one dude, and then Reinhardt killed the Zarya, and then Johnny grabbed, and then all of the three died.
Everyone else go point. One thing to keep in mind here is we went this way, like we came in through here. That is pretty dangerous knowing that they have a Pharah.
Yeah.
It might have been better to
Go the
come
other way.
down this side or something.
Yeah. I guess
But
also what
worked
we
out, I
were
guess.
doing was going that way. It gives our McCree better sight lines on the Pharah.
Yeah, that is true.
But if we're
Also-
gonna do that, we should use that as like our thing. We should
Yeah.
stay there, try and get that pick on that Pharah, because she'll be in the air pretty long.
Hmm.
But the problem with this area is it's a very like small area, so it's kind of easier because they upped Pharah's like splash damage, so she can get a lot of damage just kind of hitting the walls and hitting anybody that's like in that area.
Right now,
Which
Yeah.
most of
they
us-
decreased her splash damage. They increased her direct.
Did they? I thought they upped her splash.
Yeah,
and
but
decreased-
in he's right though. Is like in this area since we're all kind of clustered together, it's a lot easier to land directs. So effectively, her damage is pretty high there. So I guess maybe what we should have done is like hang out in this area and then have our Pharah pressure from up top since they can't do anything about it, and then have our McCree pressure their Pharah.
Yeah. Or have our
Another
Pharah boop the
possibility.
Rhine.
Another possibility is also we have or you guys had Lucio, so we could or you could have used like speed boost and gone all the way around to put that pressure directly on their Ana, and there's no fear of boops from. It is a little awkward because they have junk Pharah, but it's like you might have to try, and we might have to try stuff like that if stuff's not working.
Gotcha. So do you mean like going around all the way and then down here?
The other direction, yeah. So there's no boops.
Oh,
other
so all
direction.
the way
Oh,
around.
so like through here.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But that brings up the issue like the Pharah junk, so it's just like situational stuff.
Well,
I
if
just wanted to
anything,
mention.
you could even go right too, taking like high ground for Junkrat, and it'll be also like higher up, so McCree could easily hit.
Well, where is their
Pharah.
Junkrat?
I think he's far left,
Like in the room with the like where the Lucio?
like over here,
Oh, over there. Okay, yeah.
because Reinhardt gets pushed. They group up here, and then the other three come in through here, and then they get grabbed.
Yeah, I mean either side could work honestly. I think it's just like if something's not working, we gotta switch it up pretty quick.
Yeah.
Oh my
I-
god.
The
Visor is
Reinhardt
being a dick.
positioned like an idiot, so it worked out, I guess.
I mean, it worked fine.
Alright.
We'll hold in this room, or we'll go into this room, and we'll barrage here. So make sure you bubble me.
So what that Rhino's doing right there was pretty good. He was trying to make a little space for the DPS to charge just a little bit of ults. So when main tanks do that, make sure that as a DPS you follow up and get like a shot or two, and then move back with the Rhine. That was a really good play by the.
Gotcha.
I'm still trying to get into the visor thing. It's being a dick.
Did it stop for you?
Yeah, it stopped a while ago.
Oh, rip.
Maybe try like reloading the page or opening the link again.
I've completely closed out of Chrome and done everything I can.
You're lagging
Oh,
a
you're-
lot.
Yeah,
You're starting to lag. It might be your connection.
God fucking damn it!
Someone's showering.
Yeah, someone's shouting.
Who's in the shower?
Just go turn off your water at like the source.
Just cut the pipes out.
Oh,
God,
sorry.
Alright, in the meantime, let's keep going with this so we don't take forever.
Bubble bar, please. Bubble
I'm
bar.
gonna restart my computer. I'll be back.
Oh, I got slept. I got slept.
Alright.
Alright, I'm off computer. Fine, give me your bubble. Beat that to save it.
Twitchy's not really good with these camera angles.
Yeah, just the ribbons.
It's like he heard that and then he moved.
Yeah.
Right
Ooh, nice.
Big high noon there.
Oh shit, oh shit. Oh, dude, he
Wow.
punched me out of the
Get
way.
punched.
Oh, this is the game, John.
Yeah, dude.
Hugely winnable. That's a good stagger.
I feel like we should not have won that fight.
No, we definitely should not have.
I think that high noon and the dodge on the tire pretty much saved
You
it.
mean the punch on the tire?
Was it a punch?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Okay.
Wait, what's with the line underneath Lamp's name?
That's because he's watching him as I walk into it.
Hanzo down.
Nice boop on the Rhine.
Ult tracking could be a bit better.
On the DPS, please.
I think we should designate someone to watch their ults,
Good work, guys.
like a main tank or a main heal, sort of, if they can,
Yeah.
because that's a pretty important thing to keep in mind.
So watch what they use.
Yeah, to watch how fast they're building their ults and what they're using, so that we can keep track of like when we want to use trans, for example, or beat stuff like that.
Right. So usually what we try to do is, or what we've been kind of practicing is before every fight we talk about what ults we think they have.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
But
what
that's a good
ults we're
point that
gonna
maybe either the main heal or the off heal can keep track of what they've used that fight.
Yeah, and I mean it's not like it's really whoever we can designate like in a game, for example, but it's something important to keep in mind.
Gotcha. So I don't know if you guys saw this, but I kind of felt like that fight, like we won, but it was really messy. Like we kind of just brawled out, and I don't know.
Go into this room.
Like I don't really understand how we won this, to be honest.
Beat that to save it.
Maybe we just pressed Q.
The mischarge.
All right.
I mean, to be
Because
fair,
we get grabbed here.
it was really their fault.
So we do a good job staying together here. Nice flash.
What'd I do?
Great high noon.
I'm still not there. I'm getting complimented and I can't even see what I'm
9,000 IQ call outs. I punched it.
doing. Wait, what happened?
In game, you just say, I punched it.
I punched it? Wait, what'd I punch?
The tire.
Oh, lit.
Okay, so to me, it seems like we won that fight because they just somehow got no value out of their ults.
Wait, can I see that call out again?
Yeah.
They
I wanna see
also
that.
tried.
I
They
don't-
also
I don't know if it was you,
nanoed
but it was
Ryan and shattered
I'm
me,
pretty sure it was Zarya.
but missed his charge.
All right, so
I'm
I
back.
get picked off here like an idiot somehow.
And I can't hear anything. There we go.
Our Ryan didn't even get the beat either.
They had no follow up on Grav.
It's a good call out.
I punched it.
There it Alright, yeah, it was freaking Johnny.
You sound the exact same, Lamp.
Thanks. I try. I try and make sure my mic is the same all the time. What is this reticle? I don't use this reticle.
It's Twitchy's.
I think it's the
It's
default
Twitchy's.
reticle.
Yeah, it's Twitchy's reticle that he uses.
No, it's not. It's just the spectator reticle.
The DPS, please.
Okay, so this call out that I made here, I just want to explain that. So there's a call to go for Lucio, and we have the advantage in the fight because they're down to Ryan. And feel free to disagree with me here, but in this situation, I think we should always go for the people who have the most potential to pop off. So in this case, it would be like the Hanzo or
Zarya.
yeah,
Hanzo's area, probably.
probably Hanzo, because
Especially
if
with
he
Nano
gets
coming up.
if he pops up a couple headshots, then all of a sudden
Whoa.
the fight's in their favor.
It would be Hanzo, Zarya on Lucio, because Lucio could get boops onto your people. That's a I guess a pop up sense. The Zarya is because she's very valuable. The Ana because she could be close to whatever and she has nade,
Mhm.
and then Hanzo because he's straight up DPS. Sombra's pretty much not a threat in a sense, just because of like what you guys are running. You should be fine with her, and she's kind of on the run because I think she's low.
So what was
it's-
the exact call out you said?
Go on.
I
the
think someone
DPS.
said Lucio.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Back it up a
They-
little bit. Swing, swing.
Yeah, Ryan said Lucio, and then SWATcat said just forget Lucio, go straight for Durham.
We get to see me miss shots again.
Forget the Lucio. Go on the DPS, please.
Okay,
him.
yeah, that's a good call.
Rejected. As he continues to go for Lucio.
Oh, I just run past the Zarya. Like, fuck her.
I think since the Lucio was isolated, it might have actually been the right call to go for the Lucio there.
Where was he?
He was in the left room, right? With the Rhine?
Yeah, but if our Ryan goes there alone,
The DPS, please.
Yeah, he's in the left room.
Oh, okay, the Rhine gets him, but
Yeah, you
I
get
think-
cards.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, it's basically if it like you can either go either way. I think it's fine the way you guys did it.
So Hanzo's not even there. I think priority target should have been Ana.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Ana and
Without it-
Lucio.
I mean, like, at this point, like, it's like, once the Ryan's down and, like, we know we have the advantage, I think it's more so, like, clean up so it has to be those who can pop off.
Well,
If
it's
we were tracking ult and we called out that Ana had Nano, then it would for sure be the Ana.
well. I mean, so what there was Hanzo wasn't even there. He was with Ryan because I think he died previously. So he
I
was on
think
his
he
way.
was using the corner.
Oh, was
So-
he?
Yeah, he was in
Yeah.
the corner, I think. I don't know
Yeah.
if anyone got.
Or we can back it up.
He died.
Because he dragon
yeah.
there, right?
He's spamming from like over here.
Yeah.
and then I think he retreats.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
retreated.
he retreats. Waiting for the Rhine.
To hear my loud ass mic again.
Where's the Pharah?
Someone called out Farah. Someone called out Farah. And I was so
That's all
fucking
I-
scared.
Alright, that's the last of that.
I guess one thing to take note of for this like upcoming meta with like all these like fucking Reaper buffs and Matrix nerfs is we need to kill the Reaper.
Yeah, dude,
like-
Reaper's OP.
like- Focus him the fuck down because he's a healer, he's a tank, and he's a DPS.
It's fucking insane. He could I hate him.
All right. So as a team, what notes can we take from this video for this week?
I
Like,
need to turn down my mic.
Yeah, Lamp turns down his mic.
Yeah.
Something about cooldowns.
Yeah, just be conservative with cooldowns.
All right, be more conservative with cooldowns. Got it.
And
What else?
priority targets on cleanup.
Gotcha. All right, priority target.
And ult tracking.
Ult tracking for sure, yeah.
Gotcha.
I feel like ult tracking during a fight really helps with especially cleanups. Because
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
that will like depend on whether or not like we actually like win the fight and no one pops off.
Well,
Yeah.
like if they have a nano blade, like that could completely wipe us. So we gotta be real careful about
could-
stuff like.
That could turn the tide immediately.
I feel like if there's like a Genji though, I feel like he should be one of our first priorities, especially if he has blade.
If you can get to him, that's the thing with Genji though, as well as Lucio, is they're so slippery that if you try to prioritize them and they just keep evading you, then you've wasted a bunch of time while their teams had a chance to spam at your shield or spam.
I mean, if you can bait out
people
Genji's cooldown, then it's lit and you can probably chase him down. But other than that, it's kind of like, no, leave him alone.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I would say, like, if we... I mean, I guess another thing we could add is, like, for the ult tracking in spawn type of thing, the thing that we've been practicing, is, like, we say who has ults, who we think has ults, and then we should probably just, like, say, through that information, who we should focus down.
Yeah.
Instead of
Okay.
saying who has ults and, like, you know, just having the team be aware of it, we should, like, have a plan of, like, who to focus down first.
I feel like
Okay.
not only should we track who has ult, I think we should try to call out how close they are to their ults, because that also plays a big part. Because if we're,
Well, I think we usually do that though, no?
Usually-
I always
I
say
feel
it for
like we do
Zarya
usually
if they
track
go
ults.
counter Zarya. No, I'm saying like if after a fight we call out if what percentage we think they have.
Yeah.
Usually we do that with the
Yeah.
after we call out ults.
Like
Oh.
we'll say, like I know a lot of the times somebody's like, oh, they're playing 70 to Zen, and I know you're always tracking against Ariel. She's like probably 80 something,
Yeah,
etc., etc. So we usually do that.
it's my job.
All right, let's get to the. Oh, this is the third one.
Ooh, straight to the action.
Oh, this
Yeah.
is Johnny's POV.
Do I
Oh,
not
you
have
want-
sound?
Oh, I'm Ash. I guess. Wow, Johnny. Sorry. Huge purple.
That purple, I think, saved that fight.
Just jumping
Yeah.
around everywhere.
All right. Yeah, just feel free to pause whenever, or tell me to pause if you guys see something you want to talk about.
I fucked up.
Can you pause it?
Yes.
So I think this is a communication misstep here. Here, I'm gonna take control real quick. I think this is a communication thing here. So when cause I'm pretty sure we called out to like fall back because it was a lost fight. Cause we
Yeah,
were
yeah,
down.
I
I
remember.
remember this. Spiffy called out to go to corner.
I called out to go to like down a
Corner.
corner, but everybody went up.
Back. Bridge.
Right, so that I think is what I wanted to bring up is like the 2 tanks go up top and then there's 3 down below. So I think that was a communication misstep there that we gotta make sure we're being specific with where we want to go. Because I think that probably if we had all dropped, we could have survived that.
Oh yeah, and
Gotten out.
I remember because before the match even started, Tucci was like, "Where do we want to put up with this?" And then I said like, once they get like around here, we're gonna fall back.
Okay, yeah, so I
And then
think
when
like,
I called to fall back, everybody went. And then me and Lamp were stuck here.
We died.
yeah, so I guess that's sort of just a communication thing of like we gotta be more clear. Because like in the heat of the moment, sometimes it's hard. So like maybe working on more specific callouts could be helpful. Because I mean like we're pretty good about callouts, honestly.
I could just say like drop gate or something.
Yeah.
Maybe okay. So how about this? If we have a location that we know we're gonna go to, if things go poorly, let's say rotate instead of fall back. Because to me, fall back sounds like get the fuck out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's sort of what I was
I
like
have to agree with that.
imagining.
Okay, yeah.
Fall back. All right, I'm running. Fall
Yeah,
back.
that's kind of what happened with me. I remember I being like very aware that the plan was to go to the corner, and then I heard fall back and I saw the tanks going to the bridge, and I was like, all right, peace, I'm out, and I left you to die.
I don't. I completely like agree with that. Like, I would leave everybody else to die too if I heard fall back.
All right, cool.
I'm good.
Yep.
Sweet.
Someone want to hit play? I don't know who has control.
Spiffy.
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 Spiffy, my boy. All right.
My boy.
I get slept like a bot here.
I try and body block. I'm
Thank
trying
you
like
for that.
let them wake you up and then body block for you, but they kill you.
Sad.
Yeah, so we sort of just get like tempoed here. They just keep rolling.
Yeah. We're kind of getting staggered too. I think
I feel like we maybe should have just like fallen back, like into there and waited
All
for
the way,
Russia
yeah, probably,
because
honestly.
the payload is still like
Immensely
not
far
that
back.
far. It's like basically
It's-
just passing the gate right now.
I mean, they were good with pushing up, for
Mhm.
sure. They got a bunch of ult charge from that. Everybody has ult besides Tracer.
yeah. Well, I mean, her
You got a huge pop off right there with the freaking ult.
Yeah.
That's basically what saved us.
Good hook. I mean, in the end, it did work out to our favor because that was a big whole hog there.
Okay, I want to pause this here for a second. So looking at what they're running, so they're basically just running dive, and what we're running, what would be a what's our strategy and what's a good place to execute that strategy?
We are a bunker comp. We thrive
Yeah.
on long range, and we do not want to be right where we are now.
Wait, are you a bunker comp?
I feel like we're like honestly like half and half. Cause
Yeah.
like the hog, Reaper McCree is sort of like super like you come at me, I'm gonna like stun you and then murder you really quickly. I'm gonna hook you.
Yeah, but I mean, like
like-
Orisa, like if we have an Orisa, we can't play close up.
It's also hard with Orisa playing against dive because they're really high mobility and Orisa's really low mobility.
Yeah, like Orisa thrives on long range, and like just for doing that, like we would have to play at range. We would get poke damage in, not that much. Like I'm probably me and you be like me and Hog being like the highest poke damage, and then Orisa as well. But like,
But I also think we switch off after we bongos here. If I
Yeah.
remember right, I think we go Renzo.
which is a lot better. I think for this comp, if we kept it for the bunker comp, we should probably be holding up. Not. Can I check control?
Yeah.
I'm gonna use pink because pink is cool. Not here. More so like back at that bridge area over there, so where we can have sight lines on the bridge. Just because like we know that they're either gonna come down through here or go up top, and like that gives us a bunch of sight lines for under bridge and sort of like this area too. And because of that,
So-
like we would want them to, if we got them to dive us, like that'd be more advantageous for us. We'd be giving them space to push the payload, but I mean, like in a sense, like in this sort of fighting scenario, like payload doesn't matter. Like we want to win the fight. Winning the fight wins us the game.
Yeah, that's
Right.
correct.
So sorry, go ahead, man.
I was just gonna ask, when you said like on the bridge, you mean like up top on the bridge, like where the arrows point?
Yeah, like close to coast.
Okay,
Oh.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I like up top. I don't really like this area because this kind of
And
if
not the area, like the bridge area, or like wherever the coast is.
gotcha.
high-
So all right,
that's where that
gotcha.
arrow's
Yeah,
pointing
that's
to, not
good.
where
Okay.
not that.
yeah, because I don't want them to be able to stage for free up here, reset their cooldowns, and then jump down.
We have to control high ground, and like we have to control range, like
Right.
basically, like because
This area might be okay as well. Like
Yeah,
if we
that area would be
set
good.
up the shield at the corner here, if they come through here or through here, we can kind of spam with the Orisa and the McCree. And then if they try to go through the room, we have a Reaper and a Hog and a right click to deal with
Yeah.
it.
The only
reason I
issue
didn't
is the
say
top
left.
left.
Yeah, the top left. Like the only reason I didn't say that area is because like
Mhm.
yeah, we have the Reaper and McCree to deal with the top left if they do it, but it's such a close range dive for them that like they could catch us off guard and potentially get at least one of our healers.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why I said like Orisa especially like we have to work around the Orisa, even though like half of our comp doesn't agree with the Orisa.
Mhm.
So to say, like we have to work around the Orisa because Orisa excels at range, while me and SWAT and then sometimes I mean like Hog is a good combo with Orisa anyway. So like Hog denies dive in a sense, or basically Hog denies area closer up, so like they don't dive super close or whatever. But
Yeah.
like we have to work around that because Orisa only excels at being a bunker and range. We can't have Orisa being close up in that dive. So like Orisa has to do as much damage as she possibly can while she's far away, and like the best way I guess we could do that would be to have as much sight lines as possible with as much range as possible, type of thing. So
Yeah,
like,
and with like clever use of halts, we might be able to kind of ruin their dive timing as well. Like if you can halt one person out of the air, like either the Winston or the Diva,
yeah,
that might kind of wreck it.
for sure.
Maybe. Cool. We good to keep going?
Yep.
Actually, I had a question. So I'm running Reaper here, and my thought process is basically uh, just to defend the supports. Is that correct, or should I be playing him differently with this comp?
This comp, I feel like everybody should be with the bunker. Like there should be like you're like like I should be helping defend the supports as well. Like everybody
Mhm.
like Marissa
But
Hog should be
in
like
terms of
together.
like target priority, like I'm not worrying. Like while I was playing this, I wasn't worrying about killing anyone that was low. I was just like, whoever is going on Ana, I'm just gonna focus that person.
I feel like that's more my job in a sense. Like if somebody's on Ana, I'm gonna stun right click them.
Mhm.
Or as far as Lucio, like I feel like your job is more so like you provide like you're just a scary man on like in the comp. Like you were literally just like I'm
Big
here. I'm
energy
gonna
right
be
here.
like freaking just shoot. You're huge damage, type of thing. So like legit like you basically make the tank scared of you, and like that's a thing. Like you kind of want to keep that presence there because
Mhm.
if you're just like because like a Genji Reaper matchup, I mean like if the Genji's good, he can kill you. But like usually like you could win that if the Genji wastes his cooldowns.
Yeah.
But like
I'm pretty scary for
yeah,
Tracer and both the tanks.
yeah. But like I think your main priority would be putting pressure on the tanks for the dive. Like mine would should be because like the matchup between McCree, Genji or McCree Tracer would be a lot more just space creating. Like I probably like if they're good Tracer and Genji, I won't be able to kill them most likely, but I'll be able to like zone them out.
Right.
While you're sort of you're hanging back, you're providing pressure on like everybody as well as I'm supposed to be doing. But like in terms of like matchups, like if a dive comes in, I feel like you should be more focusing the tanks, and I should be more focusing on someone doing the healers more.
Gotcha.
That's just my opinion.
Okay. Cool. Anybody disagree with that?
Nope.
All right. Moving on. Thank you.
Guys, I'm gonna be right back.
Okay. Do you want us to wait?
No, you can keep going. I am recording it.
Okie dokes.
Toxic. The Tracer annoyed me.
All right. There's a Genji coming up top.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was called out. Oh,
Huge purple.
deleted. Nice.
Oh, I got it off.
Can we rewind a little bit to like after the Genji killed our Ana?
Yep.
Well, you want to watch me get sectioned off and die again?
Okay.
Go ahead and take control if you want.
Right. there. I feel like us falling down was not a good idea there.
I agree, but I think everyone just got scared because of the nano blade.
Yeah, everybody was freaking out. We
Mm.
were all just like, Genji! So,
Everybody was screaming.
I feel like as soon as like we see that kill on the Genji, we should all just like fall down and back because this opened up their dive so much.
that's
And
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, that's a good
that
point.
that lost us the fight, I
I
think.
like that. So we go down the stairs and jump up to the high ground.
Yeah, just jump up there.
No. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
feel like that would have been a better play. We could have played the corner. Because all we would have to face really is just the tracer after we rotate.
Okay, so maybe something for us to work on is if we're running like a death ball comp or like a bunker comp, just to avoid getting spread out when things go wrong. Like I identify a secondary location for fights.
Yeah, we need to have a fallback plan instead of just like run sort of thing.
Yeah, well, because the Diva used her bomb really well here to section off our McCree.
Yeah, I was scared shitless. Not gonna lie. I knew
Well,
I was
you were
alone.
you were getting dove, and there was a thick bomb about to blow you.
Yeah, I knew I was gonna die. And just please. All right, get out of here.
All right. You can take back over, Slot.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my bad on booping the Diva back out.
This is good like space like you're creating a good amount of space. Like the only thing is like we can't like as long as we don't push up and sort of fall back. Because we're saying sort of stationary and like we should probably be falling back as the payload's coming towards us.
I wasted my ult there.
I'm gonna pause that for a second. I feel like my positioning with Reaper was kind of off here too. So let's see. So
You were
we've
zoning
got
the
our
tracer.
yeah. So we've got our little bunker here. I'm trying to I'm just kind of playing the stairs, and then I get forced to ghost out because I left the bunker.
Yeah, so Reaper's like, and I'm sure you know this, but he's like the tank shredder, really. So like, he's our key. Like honestly, in this comp, he was our key sort of counter dive.
Mm-hmm.
Cause like when they dove us, like if we stun their diva, you just melt them because she can't matrix or whatever she uses it. You just
Right.
straight melt both their tanks, so it makes it really hard and forces them to poke. But we have a McCree and an Orisa, so we're sort of in better position to poke. So I think just playing again like with the team would be like, I don't think you need to really go for picks there.
Gotcha. So here
I
let's
feel like if you were just zoning the Winston more than just running up the stairs, like right
yeah,
there,
so,
like
yeah. So the Winston is right here, so you go for the Tracer, or so the Genji-ish instead of the Winston.
well, I
right.
think you
So
mainly
the Winston
react
was
to the
all
Genji.
alting, so I kind of stopped focusing him, but because of that, I think what my thought process here was, I think the Tracer was pressuring us from above, but so she was shooting down at me for free. So I didn't know what to do about that. Should I have backed off this way or?
I think you probably should have backed off with the tanks, because like at this point on, like right here at this moment before the Winston ult, I think you should have just like stayed behind the shield and like you could have kept
Gotcha.
shooting at the Tracer just to pressure her, but like with the amount of like I mean, it's both tanks alive and a Reaper. Tracer jumps into that like she'll be able to put in damage, but like she'll because it's just the Winston there right now. Like if Tracer jumps into that, like one of us is gonna turn around and start focusing her. She's gonna blink away or
Gotcha. So should I have retreated this way to avoid the Tracer
Yeah,
spams?
you should
'Cause
have
at
gone
this point, we
right
don't
in
know what's
that
going on.
little underhang right there.
Gotcha.
Because then you're with both tanks, and the Tracer, she'll just have to come on to you if she wants to kill you. But then it's all three of us, so it's a little.
versus a Winston. Yeah. So
Plus
like
the Winston's there too, so the Winston has no jump cooldown right there, or he's about to use it. I don't remember.
I
Gotcha.
think he ults and then jumps. He doesn't have it. Or he jumps and then ults, I'm not sure. But like, yeah, like if you were right there with the tanks, I feel like the Winston probably would have still ulted, or we would have killed him before he ulted. Either way, like I think our whole team in this point on should have been falling back because we had our shield about to break, and I don't know what Arissa's cooldown is at for her shield, but like
Well, I feel like the awkward thing about this though is the only thing the shield is preventing is Ana and Zen damage. The rest of the damage they just walk over the shield and kind of put on us anyways.
yeah, I mean like the
No.
Genji's far away right now. The Tracer and Winston is the only pressure that's being put on. Diva's out of mech, I think, and so
Mech.
like Diva's in mech.
No, she's at a mech, sorry.
Yeah, because I think
Gotcha.
she's right. I think she's in that little room to the right, shooting out. Yeah, because I think that's what Arissa's shooting at. Possibly. I'm not sure, but yeah, like
Okay.
I think just the best player would just be pulling back and focusing the Winston at the time.
Gotcha. Cool.
I'm back, by the way.
Howdy. Huge
Oh,
purple.
got him. Unlucky.
I just kind of said fuck it and left the hog.
It was the right play. I don't hold it against you. I ulted for no reason. You got out. Swept the Ryan's area here. And it was tough, honestly. Ryan's area is really hard to play against dive.
Yeah.
Because, like, I get almost no charge, and it's mostly, I use my bubbles to save people, but it's kind of hard to do that.
I feel
Yeah.
like for this play, if we, considering our comp that we still have, like the 2 DPS, like, we should still, like, in this area of the map, we should excel more than the dive comp.
Yeah, but, yeah.
As long as we stick close together, then yes.
Like, because the amount of high ground potential is not that much. Everything's really clustered together.
It's kind of a weird idea, but I
We
almost
just
think
shredded the tanks right now.
we should have played Ryan Hog.
Hog would have worked, yeah, because I would have denied the Hog might have worked. That could have worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think just like a head-up call like that from anyone really would be good here, because I think we were just talking about it before, and we just decided on Renzo.
Because I think it's just we always do the combos between tanks.
Right, but sometimes you gotta mix it up for the best combo.
Yeah.
So, one thing about the Ryan Hog, I'm just wondering how it works to protect our healers. So the like Hog, it's really easy to charge Genji Blade off of him, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I guess how do we deal with the pulse bombs and the blades when we're running a Hog?
It would be mainly my zoning and Hog zoning that would be doing it, and we would have to either play really spread out or really close up. I mean, because like depending on like either when like spread out, we would have to play passive. By playing
Mhm.
close up, we would need to play aggressive. Like what we're doing right now, setting up how we are. I think, yeah, like we're all setting up right now. Just well, hang on. Let me just. Yeah, can I take control?
Yeah.
Thanks.
It's also really awkward because there's so many entryways. Ana's just gonna get dove no matter
Yeah,
what.
Ana's always gonna get dove. Sorry, Ali, but you're.
Which is why I think it's useful to have a bubble.
Yeah, I know. I
If
think
we
I
were-
switch off Ana after I ult.
If we were playing passively, more so, and waiting for the dive, I think it would be beneficial for sort of like, if this is like if we're doing a passive play, like Ali would be on top of bus, that's super far away, and if their point is right here, Winston, Diva, not even Genji or Trace, they do not have the cooldowns to go all the way over there in one like freaking swoop. So she would be safe as of like, just for that initial engagement, unless they somehow snuck around us.
Well, we
which
could
is-
also toss a McCree back there. To
Yeah,
just,
that's
like,
what I was
keep her
gonna
safe.
say. Like, I would probably be somewhere in between, like right in front of the truck, the semi or whatever it is. Like, I would be right in front of it on the low ground. That would give Ali potential just to like jump down if she's noticed a dive. Reaper would sort of stay with the tanks and the hog, and we would sort of just play the corner. because that gives huge sightlines for Ali. Because I mean, and like I could help protect her, and then if the dive comes through, they can either dive our tanks with the Reaper, which is I don't think a good decision. They could probably dive me. They would reach me, but at that same time, I mean, like y'all should be a quick turnaround to clean up, sort of thing. The only problem is just like the ults, like the amount of ults they have is like that's kind of like just a win fight unless we do use our ults smart in a sense. Because when it comes down to like QvQ, it's just kind of like who gets more kills. I guess in a sense, like we have to use our ults smarter than they use theirs.
Right.
Yeah, so I think in this situation we should, if Tracer, because Tracer will probably go for bomb to initiate. So depending on if Tracer gets a pick or not, and they'll probably go for Nano Blade. And I think what we should do, and it's like it feels bad, but honestly, Shatter is just like good to counter Nano Blade if you can hit the game.
Yeah, like if we were playing aggressive, I still feel like Ana should be holding back on semi. I should still be holding a little bit closer to Ryan Zarya, but still a little bit, tiny bit back. And then at the same time, we should all just be sort of playing more aggressive to like once they come into about like here, we start just slowly pushing up, sort of thing. Like that way, so it just denies their dive. Because if they dive in, like the more we push them back, the less chance, the very less chance they'll have to dive
But
the Ana.
here's the thing.
I'm always like skeptical about going far back as Ana, especially against a dive team, because like all it would take is like the Genji like taking the hold on, let me whip out the pen here. How do I do this?
Click
You're gonna have to
F.
erase
You hit the
Oh, I
flank
see.
flag at the top left.
I don't know how to erase my scribble though, so
It
Just hit
says
the
I
trash
can't
can.
have control because you have it.
Okay, try it now.
yeah, sure. Hit that little trash can at the bottom left. I forgot about that. Yeah.
I feel like all it would take is like the Genji just like coming around like the back, and then like you guys wouldn't see, and then he would just like dash to me, and then I would be fucked. Like with dive, it's like people sneak up on you sometimes, like the Tracer too. Like she can just blink across you guys and get to me, and then I'm fucked. I feel like they would be like the Winston would be like like more hesitant to dive me if I'm as a unit with you guys, which is why sometimes I'm like it like confuses me because I'm like should I play Ana at like close mid range or like far range? Like it's just like I don't know.
I
It's one
do
of
kind
those
of
weird
agree with
things.
that.
Well, I mean, like,
Well,
can
what
I
if
say, can I say something? Like the whole objective, like just like the why I'm saying this is because like this in this instance, like you're gonna be scoped in, you're not gonna notice what's around you, right? You're gonna be trying to heal. You're gonna be like you're gonna be doing your job. If a Genji or Tracer comes far left, like it comes up to like more so either you hear it through your headset. We have to spot it because that is a far like that comes up to the team's ability to be able to spot the flanks, to be able to be like to have that sort of game sense to know that they're going to do it. Because if we know that everybody's alive on the enemy team, and for some reason we're just like, oh, they're not pushing main, like what the fuck? I guess they're all dead. Like type of thing. Like we have to know that there are other avenues of attack, other avenues like like if they're not pushing main or if their tanks are just sort of sitting there, then like we have to know that like okay, so we don't see their Tracer or Genji. I have to like either me as a McCree, I have to back up towards you, or we have to start looking around. Like it comes more down to game sense. And if a Genji dives you, if a Genji or a Tracer somehow gets to the opportune moment where they just decide to go for a pine play and just like sneak all around and kill you and the whole team in a sense, like it's kind of like it comes down to like I would say a reaction-based matchup and a skill-based matchup. Like for that initial dive that Genji comes on you, it would be up to you to like call it out, and either to like I wouldn't say like it's not your job to like sleep him, but like it comes up to a skill matchup sort of say where like either you can zone him out enough to where you can jump down, or you can get a sick sleep on him. but like more so like just zone him out with either use your grenade just like straight on freaking ground. That'll zone him out probably, or like just somewhere like that, and like just to heal yourself, and then like just jump down and like get to the safety of your team, because we know that if we do the aggressive stance and you're holding back, the farther we push up and keep them zoned in the front line, they can't dive you in the back line, and we always have those heals to come back to. But like
I guess. Sorry, go ahead.
no, yeah, but if we play that passive route, like if we just keep holding this corner right here, like, and you're all the way in the back of truck, like like they can't dive the front line, and so like basically what I'm saying is if they push right and try to flank you from there, we should have the scouting potential. I mean, because there's that big freaking um opening right there, right in front of us, like with that little, like if they go right and go all the way around. If they go left, we can't really see that. But just like it's like the whole team, not one person's sort of idea whether or not like okay, so they're sitting there and waiting and just kind of poking for a long time. They're obviously waiting for a pick. So like, how are they going to get a pick if we know they can't dive any of us because we're undiveable? Who's the most diveable? Anna is. All right, so then I'm probably going to wait for Genji to go top right and go around and kill you. At that point, like it's a lot of stuff to process, but like it's kind of like everybody should be calling out sort of things while the poking stance should be happening. Like I should be, SWAT should be, Twitchy should be, Spiffy, and everybody like that. Like they're not pushing up. This is strange. Like they might still be regrouping, but like if there's an initial time where they're just sort of just playing passively, we should know because of them playing dive
So
that they
like,
want to get
how
a pick.
do we? But I feel like even if they're playing passively, we know that ahead of time, right? Is like they're going to dive the Ana. So like, how do we position ourselves so that she's not diveable? Because I kind of agree with Ali. Like
We would have
if
to
she's
just like rotate. If we called it out and like basically like we know that like someone's gonna come out and just like try and 1v1 the Ana or like 2v1 the Ana.
Mhm.
At that point, it would be like a call out for Ali to get closer to the main line, not right up on the main line, but get closer to us, and then for me to drop back to right next to Ali, basically SWAT to drop back. Basically, I would say more so in between and the tanks to keep the front line. So
My
Ali
question
would just be
is,
like right next to me, escort. Yeah, what's up?
my question is because so all of this that we just discussed is pretty much if I'm like way back there where we were talking about, right? But if I'm here and I can still shoot the Reaper and I have like sights on you guys here, then what's like the value? Like what's the difference in value between me being back there and having to risk like this and also this?
Well, I mean,
The
because like,
like
sorry, go.
because I feel like a good Genji will kill me very quickly. Same with a Tracer. So I feel like the only person that could really peel for me is Lucio. And by the time Lucio goes from here to way back there, a good one of these would have already killed me. Of course, I would put down a healing nade or whatever if I have it. I would try to sleep them. But this is a hard target to hit. So
Yeah.
I don't really want to rely on that yet until I get better at that. So I feel like I guess my question is like what's the true value in me standing back there if I can heal everybody from here and potentially be more safe here?
Like the true value from that, and like, well, for like one, like you said back that like the Lucio would be the only one to peel you. I would be holding farther back than the rest of the team would. Reaper would be staying roughly where he is, maybe a tiny bit back. So like we'd be kind of in like a conga line sort of thing. Spiffy with the tanks holding corner, and then like it'd be like Reaper, then me, then you. I would be holding basically right in front of the semi, and then
Could I take control for a second?
Yep.
Let me see how to do this.
How do I do this? All right.
Okay, got it. All right. So yeah, Ali, I do agree with Ali that I feel like she shouldn't be too far back because that makes it's harder to peel for her. I feel like a good position for Ana would be here. She has a health pack right here if someone does decide to go on her. She has sight lines here. And then if we position the McCree here, then he sees this angle here, he sees this angle here, he can spam down Reaper controls the top, and then if the only way around to just the Ana is to go all the way around the back, and in that case, our front line can just engage on them.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm more than happy to say like yeah, that's a nice thing. I was just thinking about like what makes it immensely hard for the dive to dive on, and like in my mind, the best way to do that is negate their cooldowns, and like so basically, no one is able to dive you unless they commit to a huge flank or to a huge just all.
But with
full speed dive.
mobility, I feel like they have so much more mobility than us that they can do that.
I
Well-
feel like this
Well, I
is
mean,
the
like
better way
the
because
go ahead.
with SWATCAT on top, they and Ali back here, they don't know where our Ana is exactly because they can't see her. So they have no dive essentially right now. As long as our tanks hold this corner strong, they can't really do anything. So if they try to dive up top, SWATCAT hammers them down. If they try to go underneath, Ali can see them underneath, call them. If they go around up top, like everybody up top, they have SWATCAT to like pressure them up top and call them out. And if they do go all the way right side, then we could just speed into them with everybody. And then Ana is still protected because we're already engaging on them. And they would have to use their cooldowns to get out instead of dive on her.
I mean, because at that point, like the only problem I have is just the proximity, and like I don't like I love negating people using abilities because like the whole time, like if you kept Reaper up there, like you said, he's gonna stay up there, right, Johnny?
Mhm.
And like he's gonna spot, he's basically scouting left side then.
Yeah.
Right. So then, if Ana was holding the semi, and SWAT spotted the Genji coming, let's say the Genji, right? Ana would instantly jump down, and like she's holding front of semi. She's not holding all the way back on semi. Like she's holding front of semi, like on top of the semi, but like right where the truck is, the driver's seat is basically.
Okay.
So she's holding high ground. She has all the sights for us to get us heals and to
Yeah.
see the enemy in the front line. If SWAT spots that, Genji going all the way left, and relays that to Ali. Ali has a lot of time to just jump down and just come to this, like, get to at the very least, like, getting to me if I was holding back there, sort of thing.
Okay.
Or, like, we could jump back, sort of say. And then that would mean Genji would have to commit a dash.
Okay.
And if Genji commits a dash, well then, he's a free kill.
So
Because, like, Genji commits, he has to get value. Like, that's one thing that's a big thing with Genji. Is like, if he commits and dashes, he needs to get value or have an escape plan. If he dashes in a back line where there's a 6-stack just waiting for him there, like, he has a 6-second cooldown until, like, he can run away again, basically.
Alright, so how about this, right? Say let's Reaper like kills their main tank, and we want to speed into them to get more value out of the one fight. But Ana's
Okay.
all the way in the back, so we have no main heals, and we're relying on a Lucio speeding us with no heals into the enemy team. So we really can't engage as hard without our main heals because she's too far away.
Well, at that point, it's just like the main tank is dead, the fight is won.
Yeah,
so,
but
like,
we
you
wanna
would only
get
wanna
more
just do
value.
poke.
Like
Um,
get more ult charge. Right
And
now
that
we
would
have
just
full
have to
art
do
charge,
by
but
poking, because like the whole, like you want to win the fight, and if like you want to charge, you just like at that point it would just be poking and pushing them back slowly. You couldn't like if you wanted a hard push, like still going past that open area, that huge door would just like not be a thing that you would want to do anyway, just because of that. That's a lot of, I mean, you're basically that's a dive comp. Like you're going out in the open to high ground after you leave that doorway, which is something you don't want to do. Like the only way we would have to push is pushing back to the front door before the opening,
okay.
and that gives us enough with Lucio alone just to speed boot us in and out because of the short distance between the two.
I apologize, but I actually have to get off.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
No
thanks
worries,
for
dude.
joining us, dude.
Yeah, thanks. It was good tonight. I'll probably be on tomorrow. See you guys.
Okay, see ya.
See you, dude.
Bye.
Have a good night.
So we are kind of nearing the end of practice, so let's just, if you guys still have time, let's just go through the rest of this real quickly. I feel like we've talked about it a lot.
Yeah, we have. Whoops.
All right.
I have to go for like 10 minutes, but I can come back after that.
Okay, sure. Yeah. I mean, I guess practice is technically over, so feel free to
I'm gonna
hop
record.
off.
I'm gonna record the rest of it if
Alrighty.
you guys want to watch it later.
Okay.
Because I do have to go. I have to wake up early.
Okay. See ya, dude. Have a good night.
Alright. See you.
See ya. Bye.
See ya.
All right. Let's see how we execute this, and then just call out any like major notes. Maybe not like map specific stuff, but just like abilities or whatever that people can
Big SWAT.
Huge. Old.
press the cues. What the fuck happened there? Actually, let's. Okay, I think here's where we had a shatter from Twitchy.
They just kind of backed up. Who'd they dive? But they just kind of jumped in. Oh no, the shatter got some people. I thought we already went past it.
Yeah. Oh,
Shatter got
huge
everybody.
purple.
That
That
was
was a huge
big
purple.
anti. And then I went and fried the Zen. I don't remember who, but someone yelled at me for that. They're like, "Where are you at? Speed
Probably
us."
Twitchy.
Probably.
You know how Twitchy loves to yell at you.
Yeah.
I can't see it. Hello?
Hello.
Hey.
Are you guys playing it?
Yeah. Can you not see?
Nah. I'm gonna refresh real quick.
I will pause it. Let me know when you can see. One note about that fight, Spiffy. So, yeah, you go and frag the Zen here. But at this point they are respawning, so I would be careful about
Alright,
like
I'm good.
it's totally good to like go and frag somebody, but just make
Uh-huh.
sure somebody is there with you to peel. Like, don't completely leave the core, because if they maybe like I don't know swap to like a widow or something at spawn here, then they see you coming back. That could be pretty dangerous.
Can you go back a fight?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Here.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to take control?
No, you can just play it. I just want to get
Okay.
it for the recording. So Twitchy shatters. Oh,
Huge
big
purple from Alley.
what a
Yeah.
purple, dude. Honestly, won us the fight.
Yeah.
Gave your ult value. And then they switch off a dive.
And they go goats.
Oh, and they go goats.
Toxic.
Huge grav. Oh! Unlucky.
Huge.
Kill that Zen. Alright. So should Spiffy, Ko, and Speed the Zarya back?
Yeah, probably.
Instead of wall climbing random walls?
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
Spiffy's
Uh,
just having fun.
Dude,
I
always
like
have fun, Lucio.
I like that you guys recognize that they went goats and then set up on the high ground with the McCree and the Ana.
I
'Cause
wonder who
now
called
only-
it out.
Did
Too
someone
bad
call it
I
out?
think it was me, yeah.
We didn't have
Nice.
audio, but Oh,
Yeah, good call on that, because now only the diva can easily engage there.
exactly. Yeah, that's good. And then we just destroy their goats. Because what are they gonna do to us?
And they're like, oh shit, we can't get over there.
And
What
that's
about
when I called. We should just take control of cart.
which I feel like
Which-
might have been a bad play.
Yeah.
Like it works
But
out
that turned
because
out huge.
Twitchy's a god and shatters everybody. But we use what 2 ults there, and we get
Yeah.
them to use a Zen ult. But if we just stayed up top there,
No, do we use 3? Do we use High Noon?
no.
Yeah, I used to.
Oh,
Or
you used
else?
4, yeah. So if we just stayed up top there, then
Yeah,
we really
I think up
deny
top
them
might
any
have been
usage. Because goats, they have to come onto us and brawl. But how are they gonna
Right.
brawl if they can't touch us?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Because
I
yeah,
don't
they
remember what my
rotated up
thought
top
process
here,
was.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so to actually, they either have to come onto us and fight us somehow here, or they need to go to cart here, in which case we just shoot for free from high ground.
Exactly. And our
So
Reaper
I
does
guess we
more
could have just
damage.
chilled,
Yeah, we were a lot safer up there.
Yeah, it's alright
Yeah,
though.
that was.
but
live
worked
in-
out fine.
You live and you learn because Twitchy's a freaking god and shatters 10 of them somehow.
Maybe that was the debate, is like we dropped and they were like, oh, now our goats is gonna work, and then Twitchy was like, nah, bruh, I got shatter.
We did lose our main heals from that.
And we used beat, but
Yeah.
I think I only used High Noon to reload.
that's what it seems like, honestly.
They did almost kind of fuck us, but that's alright.
Yeah.
We did use we committed a good bit of ults for that.
Yeah.
Actually, holy shit, I almost have mine back.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah, we're 50 to freaking goddamn shatter again. Almost grab. We have nano. I got my High Noon back right away.
Nice boop there.
That was huge.
Oh,
Ooh.
Huge
Big
nano.
pin.
Twitchy's doing them, dude.
Twitchy's going all out right now.
Oh, and the grab gets only Ana.
Good job pulling back here, knowing that we were down and just kind of disengaging.
Oh, we
Can't
also
believe you-
switched to
I can't
Sombra.
believe you had me play Sombra.
I think you did good here.
Thank you. I don't know what I don't remember. I just remember.
You just kept hacking the Zen, I believe.
Was that this map? I think it was another map.
I think it was.
Yeah, that was another one.
It was a map
Big
I just
rip
kept,
to Alley.
like, hacking willy nilly.
Alley
I
could
was just
barely play that last point.
Yeah. I was just hacking like the Ryan and Diva the whole time. They're
Nice
like,
try,
go,
Diva.
Go Sombra, and I was like, okay, fuck.
My big thing, like, behind that is if it would dragged out and we got EMP. EMP is such a big counter to goats.
For sure.
EMP is a big counter to any comp.
Cool. Yeah, I feel like we kind of just won that with alt economy. Do you guys want to keep going? We can save the rest of this for another night.
I'm good for
I
keeping
think
it
it's pretty.
going.
Can we do my VOD?
Yeah, sure. Let's do that.